The 3M rule: why your struggle is your greatest weapon. Let me ask you something, and I want you to be brutally honest with yourself. It's 3 in the morning, everyone's asleep, the world is silent, and you're lying there, wide awake, staring at the ceiling. Your mind won't shut off. It's replaying every failure, every missed opportunity, every time someone told you that you weren't good enough. You're thinking about the life you promised yourself you'd have by now, and you're nowhere close to it. You feel stuck. You feel like you're running out of time. You feel like maybe, just maybe, you're not cut out for the success you see everyone else achieving. Here's what I need you to understand right now, in this moment. That 3M feeling, that uncomfortable, anxious, can't sleep because your life isn't where it should be feeling, that's not your enemy. That's not weakness. That's not a sign that something's wrong with you. That's your alarm clock. That's your soul screaming at you, that you're capable of so much more than the life you're currently settling for. And today, right now, we're going to decode exactly what that feeling means and how to transform it into unstoppable momentum. Chapter 1: The Brutal Truth About Motivation. See, here's what nobody tells you about motivation. All those videos you've watched, all those quotes you've saved on your phone, all those promises you've made to yourself on January 1st, they're not worthless, but they're incomplete. Because motivation without understanding is like putting premium fuel in a car with a broken engine. It doesn't matter how fired up you get if you don't understand the psychological mechanisms that actually drive sustainable change. And this is where most people fail. They're looking for the secret sauce, the magic formula, the one piece of advice that's going to transform everything overnight. But transformation doesn't work like that. Your brain is wired for survival, not success. Evolution designed your nervous system to keep you safe, comfortable, and alive, not happy, fulfilled, or extraordinary. Every time you try to do something outside your comfort zone, your brain interprets it as a threat. It floods your system with cortisol and adrenaline, the same chemicals that would release if you were being chased by a predator. That anxiety you feel before taking a risk. That's not intuition telling you to stop. That's your primitive brain trying to keep you in the cave, because the cave is safe and the wilderness is dangerous. But here's the paradox that changes everything. The wilderness is where you become who you're meant to be. The cave is where you slowly die without ever really living. And that 3M restlessness, that's your higher self, your potential, your destiny, banging on the walls of your current reality, demanding to be let out. Most people spend their entire lives trying to silence that voice. They medicate it with distractions, numb it with entertainment, drown it out with busyness. They convince themselves that wanting more is greedy, that ambition is selfish, that dreams are for other people. They build an entire identity around being realistic when what they really mean is scared. And I get it. I understand why it's easier to lower your expectations than to risk failing while reaching for something great. But let me tell you what happens when you spend decades ignoring that voice. You wake up at 50, 60, 70 years old, and you realize you played it safe your entire life. You realize you spent all those years living someone else's definition of success. You realize the fears that felt so real and so justified were mostly illusions. And by then, the regret is suffocating. Chapter 2: The Science of Transformation. Now let me give you the framework that actually works, backed by neuroscience, validated by psychology, proven by people who've transformed their lives against impossible odds. Your brain has something called neuroplasticity, which is a fancy way of saying it can rewire itself based on consistent patterns of thought and behavior. Every time you make a decision, you're strengthening neural pathways. Every time you choose comfort over growth, you're programming your brain to seek comfort. Every time you choose difficulty over ease, you're programming your brain to embrace challenge. This isn't motivational fluff. This is measurable, observable scientific fact. Studies show that it takes approximately 21 days of consistent behavior to begin forming a new neural pathway, and 66 days for that pathway to become automatic. But here's the critical piece most people miss. Those first 21 days of psychological warfare. Your old patterns are going to fight back with everything they've got. You're going to feel resistance. You're going to hear the voice telling you to quit. You're going to have days where it feels impossible. This is where the 3M rule comes in. The 3M rule states that your true character isn't revealed in public moments of triumph, but in private moments of choice, when nobody's watching and nothing external is forcing your hand. It's what you do at 3 in the morning, metaphorically speaking, when you have the choice to scroll mindlessly or work on your goals, to binge another episode or develop your skills, to complain about your circumstances or do something about them. Navy SEALs have a concept called embracing the suck. It means that discomfort isn't something to avoid, it's something to run toward, because that's where growth lies. When you're in cold water during training and every cell in your body is screaming to get out, the ones who make it are the ones who can sit in that discomfort and override their survival instinct with their commitment to something bigger. You don't need to be a Navy SEAL to apply this principle. You just need to understand that the voice telling you to quit is always loudest right before the breakthrough. The temptation to give up is always strongest right before you succeed. This isn't coincidence. This is how transformation works. Think about it like this. When you're lifting weights and your muscles start burning, that burning sensation isn't damage, it's growth happening in real time. Your muscle fibers are literally tearing so they can rebuild stronger. The pain is the price of progress. And it's exactly the same with psychological growth. That discomfort you feel when you're pushing past your old patterns, that's not a sign to stop. That's confirmation you're doing it right. Chapter 3, your 21-day rewiring protocol. So here's your protocol, your roadmap, your battle plan for the next 21 days. First, you need to identify your 3M moment. What is the one area of your life where you know you're settling, where you know you're capable of more, but you've been making excuses? For some of you, it's your health. You know you need to take care of your body, but you've been choosing convenience over wellness. For others, it's your career. You know you're meant for more than your current position, but you've been choosing security over potential. For some, it's relationships. You know you deserve better, but you've been choosing familiarity over standards. Whatever it is, name it, write it down, make it specific. Vague goals create vague results. I want to be successful means nothing. I want to build a business that generates $10,000 monthly revenue within 12 months, is specific, measurable, and creates accountability. Second, you need to understand your resistance patterns. Your brain is going to try to sabotage you, and it's going to be subtle. It won't say, give up. It'll say, start tomorrow, or you've had a hard day, you deserve a break, or one day off won't matter. These are not logical thoughts. These are your primitive brain trying to pull you back to the cave. The way you combat this is through micro-commitments. Don't commit to working out for an hour. Commit to putting on your gym shoes. Don't commit to writing a book. Commit to writing one sentence. The hardest part is always starting. Once you start, momentum carries you. This is why people who make their bed in the morning are statistically more likely to have productive days. It's not about the bed. It's about proving to yourself that you can follow through on something, even something small, which creates psychological momentum. Third, you need to design your environment for success. Willpower is finite. Discipline is overrated. Systems are everything. If you want to eat healthy, don't rely on willpower when you're hungry and there's junk food in your pantry. Restay is everything. If you want to wake up early, don't keep your phone next to your bed. Put your alarm across the room so you have to physically get up. If you want to build a business, block time on your calendar like it's a doctor's appointment you can't miss. Your environment is constantly programming your behavior. Most people try to change their behavior without changing their environment, and then they wonder why it's so hard. It's like trying to quit smoking while carrying cigarettes in your pocket. The successful people aren't the ones with the most willpower. They're the ones who engineered their lives so that the default option is the productive option. They made the right choice the easy choice. They removed friction from good behaviors and added friction to bad behaviors. Fourth, you need accountability that actually matters. Telling your friends about your goals feels good in the moment, but rarely produces results because there's no real consequence for failure. Real accountability comes from public commitment with social stakes. Post your goal on social media, not to brag, but to create pressure. Tell your family. Join a community of people working towards similar goals. Better yet, find an accountability partner and create mutual consequences. If you don't hit your daily commitment, you pay them $50. If they don't hit theirs, they pay you. Money creates real stakes. Fifth, track everything. What gets measured gets managed. Keep a simple daily log. Did you do the thing you said you'd do? Yes or no? No gray area. No excuses, just data. At the end of 21 days, you'll have a clear record of your integrity. How many times did you keep your word to yourself versus break it? This data is brutal but necessary. Most people lie to themselves about their consistency. They remember the 3 days they worked hard and forget the 11 days they didn't. Data doesn't lie. It shows you the truth about who you actually are versus who you think you are. Chapter 4, Real Transformation Stories. Let me tell you about Sarah. 3 years ago, she was working a job she hated, living paycheck to paycheck, 50 pounds overweight, in a relationship that was draining her soul. She had all the excuses. Single mom, no time, no money, no energy, no support system. She had every logical reason to stay stuck. But she had that 3M feeling, that restlessness, that knowing that this couldn't be all there was to life. She started with one micro-commitment. Every morning, before her kids woke up, she would walk for 10 minutes. That's it. Just 10 minutes. Not a full workout. Not a complete life overhaul. all, just 10 minutes of movement. The first week was torture. Her body hurt, her alarm felt violent, her bed felt like paradise. But she did it anyway. Week 2, the 10 minutes started feeling easier. Week 3, she added 5 more minutes. Month 2, she was walking 30 minutes daily and started noticing she had more energy. Month 3, she used that energy to start learning about nutrition. Month 6, she'd lost 20 pounds and felt confident enough to update her resume. Month 9, she landed a better job with a 40% salary increase. Month 12, she had the strength to end the toxic relationship. Year 2, she'd lost all 50 pounds, doubled her income again, and met someone who actually valued her. Year 3, she started her own business. Here's what's crucial to understand. None of those changes were dramatic in isolation. She didn't have a movie montage moment. She had hundreds of 3M choices where she chose her future self over her comfortable self. And those choices compounded. That's how transformation actually works in real life. It's not inspiration. It's not a breakthrough moment. It's boring, repetitive, daily choices that feel insignificant in the moment, but become unstoppable over time. I've seen this pattern hundreds of times. The person who loses 100 pounds didn't do it with motivation. They did it with systems. The person who builds $1 million business didn't do it with a brilliant idea. They did it with consistent execution. The person who transforms their life didn't find the secret. They just refused to negotiate with their excuses longer than other people did. Let me tell you about Marcus. He was 28 years old, still living in his parents' basement, working part-time retail, spending most of his day playing video games. He was depressed, isolated, convinced he'd missed his window for success. Everyone else from high school was married, had careers, owned homes. He felt like he'd been left behind. His 3 a.m. moment came when he overheard his parents talking about how worried they were about his future. That conversation broke something in him. The next morning, he made one decision. He would apply to 3 jobs every single day, no matter what. Not when he felt motivated, not when he found the perfect opportunity. 3 applications every day, non-negotiable. Week 1, nothing happened. Week 2, still nothing. Week 3, he got 1 interview. It went terribly. He wanted to quit. But he'd committed to 3 applications daily, so he kept going. Week 7, he got a second interview. This one went better. He got the job. It wasn't his dream job. It was entry-level, barely above minimum wage, but it was a start. He used the same principle at work. 1 small improvement every day. Learn 1 new skill per week. Volunteer for projects nobody else wanted. 6 months later, he got promoted. 12 months later, promoted again. 18 months later, he was managing a team. 2 years later, he was recruited by a competitor for triple his original salary. Same person, same brain, same circumstances initially. The only difference was sustained commitment to unglamorous daily action. No magic, no luck, no secret. Just relentless consistency applied over time. Chapter 5, the mindset shift that changes everything. Here's the shift that separates people who transform from people who stay stuck. Most people view discomfort as a signal to stop. High performers view discomfort as a signal that growth is happening. Same sensation, completely opposite interpretation. When you start a new workout routine and you're sore the next day, that soreness isn't damage, it's adaptation. Your body is literally becoming stronger. If you interpret that soreness as, I overdid it, I should stop, you quit. If you interpret it as, this is exactly what growth feels like, you continue. It's the same with psychological discomfort. When you start pushing yourself to wake up early, to work on your goals, to have difficult conversations, to take risks, you're going to feel anxious and uncertain. That's not a warning sign. That's a growth sign. Your brain is recalibrating. Your identity is expanding. Your comfort zone is stretching. And it's supposed to feel uncomfortable because you're literally becoming a different person. You're killing off the old version of yourself and birthing the new one. That process isn't supposed to feel good. It's supposed to feel like transformation. The people who make it are the ones who can reframe suffering as progress. They don't avoid the hard stuff. They seek it out because they know that's where the evolution happens. They understand that comfort is actually the most dangerous place to be because comfort equals stagnation, and stagnation equals slow death. Think about nature. Every living thing that stops growing starts dying. Trees that stop growing rot from the inside. Muscles that aren't challenged atrophy. Skills that aren't used deteriorate. Relationships that aren't nurtured fall apart. Businesses that don't innovate become irrelevant. Growth isn't optional if you want to truly live. It's the fundamental requirement of life itself. And growth requires discomfort. There's no way around it. You can't grow in your comfort zone. By definition, growth happens outside of what's comfortable. So the question becomes, are you willing to trade temporary discomfort for permanent transformation? Are you willing to feel awkward and uncertain for 6 months in exchange for a completely different life? Because that's the real trade. Most people aren't. They choose comfort today and regret tomorrow. They choose the path of least resistance and wonder why they never get anywhere meaningful. They prioritize feeling good in the moment over being good at life long term. You're still watching. You're still searching for something more. That searching, that restlessness, that 3M feeling that's your competitive advantage, that's your fuel, that's your proof that you're meant for more. Chapter 6, the daily practice of unstoppable people. Let me break down what high performers actually do differently. It's not what you think. It's not that they're more talented or smarter or luckier. It's that they've mastered the art of daily non-negotiables. First, they win the morning. They don't check their phone first thing. They don't start the day reacting to other people's agendas. They have a morning ritual that puts them in the right state before the chaos begins. For some, it's meditation. For others, it's exercise. For some, it's journaling. The specific activity matters less than the principle. Control the first hour of your day, or the day controls you. Second, they practice strategic discomfort daily. They do something hard every single day on purpose. Not because they have to, but because they choose to. Cold showers, difficult conversations, uncomfortable phone calls, hard workouts. They're training their nervous system to stop interpreting discomfort as danger. Third, they protect their energy ruthlessly. They say no to most things. They guard their time like it's their most valuable asset, because it is. They don't attend every meeting, accept every invitation, respond to every message. They understand that every yes to something unimportant is a no to something critical. Fourth, they consume information strategically. They read for 30 minutes daily. They listen to podcasts during commute time. They're constantly learning, constantly upgrading their knowledge base. But they're not consuming randomly. They're specifically seeking information that supports their current goals. Fifth, they have clarity on their top 3 priorities, not 10 goals, not 20 dreams. 3 clear priorities that everything else gets filtered through. When an opportunity arises, they ask, does this serve one of my top 3 priorities? If no, they decline. This singular focus creates exponential results. Sixth, they do the hardest thing first. They don't procrastinate on the task they're avoiding. They attack it first thing when they have maximum willpower and minimum excuses. They eat the frog, as Brian Tracy says. Once the hardest thing is done, everything else feels easy. Seventh, they review and reflect daily. Every evening, they spend 10 minutes reviewing what worked today, what didn't, what will I do differently tomorrow. This practice of conscious reflection accelerates learning dramatically. Most people make the same mistakes repeatedly because they never pause to analyze what happened. Eighth, they're rigorous about sleep. They don't brag about surviving on 4 hours. They prioritize 7 to 8 hours because they understand that sleep is when your brain consolidates learning, when your body repairs, when your willpower regenerates. Sleep isn't weakness. It's strategic recovery. Ninth, they've eliminated energy drains, toxic people, time-wasting activities, energy vampires, drama, gossip, complaint sessions. They've cut these things out of their lives completely because they understand that you can't reach your potential while surrounded by things pulling you down. 10th, they've made peace with imperfection. They don't wait until they feel ready. They don't need perfect conditions. They act despite uncertainty. They iterate and improve in real time. They embrace messy action over perfect paralysis. These aren't superhuman abilities. These are trainable skills. The difference between you and them isn't capability. It's consistency applied over extended time periods. Chapter 7, Overcoming the Voice That Stops Everyone. Let's talk about that voice. You know the one, the voice that says, "Who do you think you are?" The voice that lists all your past failures as evidence of future impossibility. The voice that compares you to everyone who's further ahead and uses that comparison to justify quitting. That voice stops more dreams than failure ever will. That voice keeps more people stuck than lack of resources or opportunity. That voice is the enemy. And you need to understand where it comes from so you can disempower it. That voice isn't you. It's the accumulation of every limiting belief you've absorbed from parents, teachers, friends, society, past failures, and your primitive survival brain. It's giving you fear disguised as reason. Here's how you fight it. First, you name it. When that voice shows up, you say out loud, "That's fear talking, not truth." You externalize it. You create separation between you and the thought. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that observes thoughts. Third, you replace it. Every time the limiting belief appears, you consciously replace it with an empowering alternative. "I'm not good enough" becomes "I'm learning and improving daily." "I always fail" becomes "I'm discovering what doesn't work so I can find what does." This isn't positive thinking fluff. This is cognitive restructuring, a clinically proven psychological technique. Your brain believes what you repeatedly tell it. If you repeatedly tell it you're inadequate, it will find evidence to support that belief. If you repeatedly tell it you're capable, it will find evidence for that instead. Fourth, you take action before you feel ready. That voice gains power and hesitation. It gets louder when you wait. The antidote is immediate action. 5-second rule. As Mel Robbins teaches, count backward from 5 and move before your brain can generate another excuse. Fifth, you accumulate evidence. Immediate evidence, you can't do it. Do it anyway, even just once, and you've created evidence that contradicts the belief. Do it twice, 3 times, 10 times, and the evidence becomes undeniable. You're proving to yourself through action that the voice was lying. They're not just progress toward your goal. They're ammunition against your inner critic. Every kept promise, every completed task, every small victory is proof that you're capable. And proof is more powerful than motivation. Chapter 8, Why Your Past Doesn't Define Your Future. I need you to understand something fundamental. Your past is a collection of data points, nothing more. It's not a prison sentence. It's not a crystal ball showing you what's possible. Every single person who's ever achieved something significant had a past that didn't predict their future. The guy who barely graduated high school, who built a billion-dollar company. The woman who overcame addiction to become a best-selling author. The athlete who was cut from teams repeatedly before becoming a champion. Your past failures don't mean you're a failure. They mean you haven't figured it out yet. Big difference. Yet implies possibility. Yet implies that with different information, different strategies, different commitment, different outcomes are possible. Think about it mathematically. Let's say you've tried and failed 10 times at something. Does that mean you'll fail the 11th time? No. It means you've discovered 10 approaches that don't work. You're closer to finding what does work, not further away. Edison tested thousands of materials before finding the right filament for the light bulb. He didn't view each test as a failure. He viewed it as eliminating one option, getting closer to the solution, same number of attempts, completely different interpretation. Your interpretation of your past determines your access to your future. If you interpret past failures as evidence of inherent inadequacy, you won't try again. If you interpret them as education and calibration, you'll try smarter next time. The people who break through aren't the ones who never failed. They're the ones who failed repeatedly, but refused to let those failures become their identity. They failed at actions while maintaining belief in their potential. They separated what they did from who they are. You can start completely over at any age, from any circumstance, with any history. The only question is, are you willing to let go of the story you've been telling yourself about who you are, based on what's happened? Because that story is optional. You wrote it, which means you can rewrite it. You chose that interpretation, which means you can choose a different one. Your past is fixed, but your relationship to it is completely flexible. This is the moment you decide, does your past define you, or does your commitment to your future define you? Chapter 9, the final challenge. Here's where we separate talkers from doers. Everything I've shared with you today is useless unless you act on it. Knowledge without action is just entertainment. Understanding without application is just distraction. So here's your challenge. Not someday, not next week, not when you feel ready. Right now, today, in the next 5 minutes after you finish this video, one decision, one action, one micro commitment that serves your future self instead of your comfortable self. Maybe it's sending that email you've been avoiding. Maybe it's signing up for that course. Maybe it's having that difficult conversation. Maybe it's deleting that app that's stealing your time. Maybe it's writing down your specific goal and posting it publicly. Whatever it is, do it before your brain talks you out of it. Do it while the inspiration is still fresh. Do it before life provides a convenient excuse. Because here's the truth, if you don't take action in the next hour, you probably won't take action at all. The moment passes. The motivation fades. The commitment weakens. This is your moment. Not a theoretical future moment when conditions are perfect. This moment, right now, with all its imperfections and uncertainties. This is where transformation begins. And here's what I want you to understand. You searching for motivation, for answers, for something more that's not accident, that's your 3M self reaching out. That's your potential demanding attention. You have 2 choices right now. You can close this video, feel temporarily inspired, and go back to exactly what you were doing before, which will produce exactly the same results you've been getting. Or you can treat this as your turning point, your line in the sand, your moment of decision. 21 days from now, you'll either look back at this moment as when everything changed, or as another time you got inspired but didn't follow through. The difference isn't luck. It's not circumstances. It's one decision followed by consistent action. Conclusion, the invitation. So let me bring us full circle. Remember that 3M feeling we started with? That restlessness, that anxiety, that knowing you're meant for more? That's not going away by ignoring it. It's not going away by numbing it or distracting yourself from it. That feeling goes away by honoring it, by taking action on it, by becoming the person it's calling you to be. That feeling is your invitation to your extraordinary life. The question is, are you going to RSVP? You're not going to feel ready. You're not going to feel qualified. You're not going to feel confident. Nobody does. Courage isn't the absence of fear. Courage is fear walking. It's acknowledging the terror and moving forward anyway. Your current circumstances don't determine your potential. Your past doesn't define your future. Your fears don't dictate your possibilities. The only thing that stops you is your decision to stop. For the next 21 days, I want you to honor your 3M self. I want you to make decisions based on who you're becoming, not who you've been. I want you to choose discomfort over comfort, growth over safety, potential over security. Document it, track it, share it, make it real. And 21 days from now, come back and tell me what changed. Not in your circumstances in you. Because here's the final truth. Nothing changes until you do. Not your opportunities, not your luck, not your circumstances. You change first, then everything else rearranges itself around your new energy. Your 3M self has been waiting for this moment. The moment you finally decide to become who you were always meant to be. This is it. This is your time. What are you going to do about it?